On today's show, the San Diego Padres blow the last game of a really playoff vibe series against the New York Yankees, despite Dylan Cease delivering perhaps his best start of the entire season and some Jackson Merrill heroics. They didn't come up in these two separate instances to get the series win. Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On Padres, your daily San Diego Padres podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Locked On Padres podcast, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day for Thursday, May 8th. As always, I'm your host with sometimes, but not always the most, Javier Reyes. You can follow me on Twitter /X and Blue Sky at Javipeno, Javiipeno. Be sure to reach out to me on there if you want any of your questions answered in the mailbag segment, which runs every Monday. So be sure to reach out there. Today's episode, though, is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Go check it out. See, I'm already a mess. And you know why I'm a mess, folks? It's because the Padres had the opportunity to truly get a nice, splendid, delightful series win against the AL representative in the World Series last year in the New York Yankees, and also the New York Yankees, right? It just always feels good to beat them. And look, there are a lot of good things that happen in this game. And frankly, like, just from an objective point, let me take off the Padres cap for a second. Heck of a game. And frankly, heck of a series. You had game one, in which featured a Devin Williams blow up, and then Xander Bogaerts and Manny Machado both with some huge hits, right? Like, that was awesome. And then you had the crazy rain delay and the Fernando Tatis Jr. ejection, like all these sort of things. And then you have game two, which, while yes, the final score was 12-3, the game was close up until kind of inexplicably Wandy Peralta and Adrian Morejon just completely blew up, right? Like, those guys just got absolutely shafted in that game. So bad that Wandy Peralta's like overall image on the season changed significantly, right? Like, all of a sudden some of his baseball savant things went down pretty dramatically. Not great, but that's what happens when you have a disastrous performance. Thankfully, though, I will say, I don't know if you guys saw the Ryan Presley a couple days ago give up like 8 runs without recording it out. So not as bad as that, at least. Not as bad as the Cubs bullpen. But let's start first with the really good things that happened in this game, which is number one, Dylan Cease, while we do the recap, guys, because again, this was a great series. And how do we finish it? With a true pitcher's duel. For Dylan Cease, he goes 6 2/3 in this one, allowing 1 earned run on 1 hit, 2 walks, and 9 Ks. By far his best start of the season, and frankly, his best start since April 2nd against Cleveland, when he went 6 1/3 and gave up 1 and struck out 7 against the Guardians. This is his best start since then. Like, he really has been showing a lot of struggles this year, and I think that while I have been prophesizing, right, I've been telling the tale. I'm like, telling the tale of Anakin Skywalker, who will bring balance to the Force. I really did think that the Padres would be in a situation where they got eventually a good start from Dylan Cease, because all the peripherals looked pretty good. And while it doesn't look like he's, has the same level of movement on his slider, it's still a good pitch, and he should figure it out. It does feel like he's been one of those guys this year that has just unraveled after an inning, right? What I mean by that is he has this one blow-up inning, and it happened a couple times in this game where he allowed a walk. And I'm like, oh God, here we go. This is what happens. But thankfully, he came up big. And he actually took a no-hitter into 6 innings through this game, right? It was no-hitting the Yankees. It was great, which really helped because Max Fried was pitching a gem, the current frontrunner, I believe, for the Cy Young in the American League. Still just a 1.05 ERA. It only went by 0.4 yesterday, which just shows you how good he was. 7 innings, only 1 earned run on 5 hits, 0 walks, and 8 Ks. We'll talk about how he gave up that 1 run in a second, best you believe that. But Dylan Cease looks great, and unfortunately gives up a solo shot to Cody Bellinger, of all people. And it's funny because it's like the Dodger nation, the Dodgers soul, the Dodgers inner energy, the satanic energy, some might say, is still lurking in this man, clearly, for him to be the only guy that upsets and destroys a no-hitter for Dylan Cease, who had really looked great up to that point. And Cody Bellinger and then Trent Grisham, both, who we'll talk about in a second, like, it's unfortunate because those two guys both at one point were the worst offensive outfielders in all of baseball. Obviously, Cody Bellinger had a little bit of bounce back in 2023. Then he had a bounce back, a reverberation to the mean from his, frankly, a little bit lucky 2023 season. And now he's barely hitting above 200. And then you have Trent Grisham, who's doing great. And again, we'll talk about him in a second. It's just funny seeing both of those guys on the Yankees. One of them doing really well. The other one just kind of, lurking around there. But he still hates the Padres, it seems. So he ties up the game. And then eventually Dylan Cease gets taken out of the game in this one, which was really bad. Really, really bad. He leaves the start, and that made everybody worried because it's like, please don't tell me we're going to lose this guy when he finally has his really coming out party. And coming out party in the sense of coming out in 2025. He's been a good pitcher before, obviously, but has this great start. He's striking out everybody, and then he gets taken out of the game. And not just a good start where he got a little bit lucky on the contact stuff, right? He didn't really give up any hard hit stuff. The highest exit velocity off of his four-seam fastball is 87.4 miles per hour. He was doing really well. He really was. He got 6 whiffs off his fastball and 14 whiffs off his slider. That slider was back, folks. It was really, really, really nice to see from Dylan Cease. And not that there was crazy change in some of the spin or the break or anything like that, but what I saw was just a really good game for him, right? He had a horizontal break of 8 inches on his fastball. His yearly average is 4. He was better there. Yearly average for the slider was just 2. This year, or actually just 1, if I'm not mistaken. And then he had a max of 7 in this game. So he did at points throw really good pitches, which I like to see, especially on the movement, because I think that's what's been hurting him. And I think what also hurt him was his pitch repertoire. I think that he was trying out new pitches because this has been a problem for him, especially come postseason, that it seems like he can only trust 2 pitches and then occasionally throw a knuckle curve every now and then. But that's not great. But overall, he went back to what works well. He's going to be a free agent. I get it. The fastball slider combination was killing the Yankees, including Aaron Judge, striking him out a couple times. It was great. But then they take him out of the game in this one. And look, it's okay. He still went 6 2/3. This start would be a lot more beloved and a lot more praised. We'd be a lot more excited about it if it didn't go poorly for them the rest of the game. And the fact that the Padres could not hit Max Fried. You know me, I'm a big believer in the law of averages. Unfortunately, Max Fried's big, let's say, not horrible start, but his comeback down to earth start has not happened yet. It does not happen against the Yankees. Really not great. But Cease gets taken out of the game alongside a team trainer. It was unclear why. It looked like he was lobbying to stay in the game. And thankfully, after the game later on, and I didn't mention this in my short that I posted after the game, but it does seem like he's okay. AJ Casval said Dylan Cease says he plans to make his next start after exiting this one with a right forearm cramp. He wants to throw warm-up pitches and continue, but the Padres played it safe. Cease said he passed post-game tests from the training staff. So that is great news. And I know what you're thinking, and you should think so, which is I don't trust the Padres. They're always weird and cagey with injuries. I get that. I totally understand that. But for me, right now, I'm just grateful that he's okay and that we're still vibing with this guy, especially after he had his best start of the season, right? But, you still get a little bit scared. But I kind of like that the Padres played it safe. He already had a great game. It's not like he was only 4 innings in and they took him out, right? He was doing great. It's just that the Padres offense did not come through. And they didn't come through in some other areas. And the bullpen, again, didn't come through in some other areas, which wasn't great. And we'll talk about that in just a second, guys. But first, a word from one of our sponsors. And one of our sponsors today is the legendary, the sensational, the absolutely unmatched folks at Supply House. We love them very much, guys. You've known about Supply House for a very long time because they are the #1 place to get all your plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, whatever sort of skilled trades you need. Supply House is the way to go. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need, delivered fast from coast to coast. And if you need help with an order, don't worry, Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trademaster program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now, it's your turn. So join the Trademaster program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off. your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Everybody go on and check it out. And just like that, everybody, we are back here, thriving and vibing on the Locked On Padres podcast. Be sure, again, to check me out on Twitter /X and Blue Sky at Javipeno, Javiiipeno. Today's game, like I said, Dylan Cease gets taken out. He gives up the solo shot to Cody Bellinger. Well, for the Yankees, this was okay. Right? This was okay. They were like, we finally got into the Padres bullpen, which usually is a plus for us, but unfortunately it wasn't in this game. Tied 1-1 at this point, by the way. Jackson Merrill hitting a solo shot in this one. That's the only run that they ended up scoring off the Yankees in the top of the fourth inning. Basically quiet up to that point. And then things got crazy. Cody Bellinger home run. Dylan Cease gets taken out of the game. But after that, the Padres do step up big in this one. But it was just Jackson Merrill again, right? Jackson Merrill, absolutely incredible game from our guy as usual. After Fernando Tatis Jr. drew a walk, in fairness, Manny Machado drew a walk. Merrill hits a single that allows Tatis to score and Manny Machado to get to third. And then Xander Bogaerts doesn't get a hit, but he does get a sac fly to give the Padres a 3-1 lead. And this has been the recipe for the Padres winning all year long, right? All year long. This is what they've been doing. And I think that in a lot of ways, it's okay to be like a little bit expecting of it, to be like, all right, well, this Yankees lineup has been struggling. We're not facing Aaron Judge to start off the inning. It's going to be Oswaldo Cabrera, Trent Grisham, and then Ben Rice, right? Like, at least you've got the bottom of the order to go through. And Jason Adam has been invincible this year, right? Like, he has been that dude. But unfortunately, he is not that dude this time. Because the first thing he does is he allows a walk to Oswaldo Cabrera, and that's not great, walking the batter to start. And then what happens? He gives up a home run to Trent Grisham. Now, here's the thing. First of all, I could have seen this coming. I was watching the at-bat going, okay, I know we've retired him a lot ever since that first game that he hit the home run, but Trent Grisham revenge game is real. And he absolutely comes through. And it's just really, really frustrating because I don't think that it had to be this way, right? He's a pinch hitter in this game. He hits a 2-run home run, obviously, to tie the game. And Jason Adam, up to this point, had been sensational. Like, let's be very clear. 1.77 ERA on the season, and before this, it was a 0.95. He's given up a couple runs, 3, in fact, over the course of his last 4 games, right? Which is not, or last 4 appearances, I should say, not the last 4 games. That's not bad. It just means that he's finally giving up some runs, but he's still been electric. He's still having frankly, before this game, like an all-star caliber season, right? That's what he'd been doing up to this point, even almost more so than guys like Jeremiah Estrada, not necessarily more than Robert Suarez, but he's been that good, right? So I'm not going to be super pissed at him. However, and I talked about this on Twitter as well, which is why you should follow me. I hated the sequence that they went to because this is a hitter with Trent Grisham, with his swing, you know he's going to try and pull the ball. That's what he does for power, and that's the number one thing you don't want to give up right now. Yes, he's got a decent eye at the plate, and yes, he's been hitting better this year in general. So, like, I don't want to kill Jason Adam entirely, right? Because, in fairness, like, Trent Grisham has been a better hitter this year. If he hadn't been a good hitter, this would have been more frustrating. But in general, my thing is, you know he's going to try and pull the ball. He's going to try and tie the game. And you know he's a decent, like, hitter at the plate and whatnot. And what does he do? He throws 4 straight changeups, which is not, de facto bad. It's a really good pitch of his. It's fine. But what I don't like, and I put it on the screen actually for my YouTube viewers, that the 3rd and 4th pitches were so close to each other. He just completely misses in his location, right? And the 4th pitch, hilariously enough, the one that Grisham hits a home run off of, is actually more inside. But you threw the same type of pitch. And it's not like Jason Adam, just for people who don't know, is only a pitcher who throws, changeups and fastballs. No, that's not what he does. He actually throws sliders, changeups, 4-seamers, and even sweepers sometimes. So to go with 4 straight pitches and the 3rd and 4th ones to be in the exact same area to a guy who's going to pull the ball in Yankee Stadium with that short porch, not a great decision. And again, I don't want to totally kill Jason Adam because he's been so good this year. This was just a classic, look, the Padres bullpen was nearly a run better than the next best bullpen heading into the season, right? I believe it's San Francisco now. Like, you couldn't expect them to be this lockdown all year. But I will say, in this case, something in favor of Grisham is he has been a good hitter this year. Something also in favor of Grisham is that was a ball way inside. Not way inside, but it was an inside pitch that he took deep. It wasn't in the strike zone. But it was still somewhat in the strike zone. It was close, right? But on the case of Jason Adam, my thing is to throw 4 straight changeups like that. Why not throw a fastball? Why not throw a slider? Right? You have him in the count. right? Like, you've got a decent count on your side. Like, you're okay. You can hang in there. And throws him the wrong pitch, and he takes him deep. But again, I can't just blame Jason Adam, and this has nothing to do with their at-bat, but because the Padres lineup does not come through in this game. On top of the fact that, by the way, at one point when the Padres were up 1-0, bases loaded. I'm sorry, I think it was runners on second and third, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was runners on second and third. Luis Arraez has the opportunity to do what all the commenters who get mad at me, right, bring up, which is that, Luis Arraez is this superstar player, and then you have to stop criticizing him, whatever. Has an opportunity to bring in Tatis, does not single him in, and then I think does he blow it again later on? Or not blow it again, but you get my point. I forgot if he had like a no-hit. I forgot, but he went 0 for 4 in this game. Not great from our guy, Luis Arraez, but he's not the only one to blame, because as we go into extras in this one, top of the 9th inning, Hayward, Iglesias, Maldonado all fly out. Like, what do you want? Like, that's just gonna happen. But in the top of the 10th inning, we've got the not ghost runner, but the zombie runner coming in. And here's what happens. The Padres, they have the opportunity to win it. And what do? They fumble it. And it happens, but it is unfortunate because this is a game that really had like some playoff vibes to it. So I wanted to see a nice victory by the Padres, even if Jason Adam did blow it. And what happens? Devin Williams comes into the game. Who's the guy that's been a disaster all year long for the Padres? Devin Williams. He relieves Luke Weaver, and what's the first thing that he does? He strikes out Fernando Tatis Jr. Awful, right? On 3 pitches, not the best at bat by Tatis. He just completely swings through him. And then Brandon Lockridge steals third, kind of catches the Yankees sleeping a little bit, and then Luis Arraez draws a walk. The one time I kind of wish that he didn't draw a walk, by the way. And then what happens? Machado strikes out, and then Xander Bogaerts strikes out. 3-2 count with the bases loaded because Jackson Merrill gets hit on his arm, like his back arm. So that would be his left arm gets hit. And there was just a feeling that I had when I saw that where I was like, this is going to work well for the Yankees, isn't it? This is going to be good that Jackson Merrill doesn't get the at-bat. Instead, he gets plunked. And he was, like, really annoyed. I can imagine. You just got off the IL. They were commenting on that, too. Like, hey, he just got off the IL. It's really frustrating to get hit really hard there. Thankfully, it seems like he's okay. And then, game on the line, Xander Bogaerts 3-2 count. What does he do? He swings at a pitch outside the zone. It was a really good pitch by Devin Williams. Don't get me wrong. But at some point, we get to a point where I'm like, yeah, but I can't make excuses for Xander Bogaerts. He's just not been a good player. I know he had a nice RBI in the first game, but overall, this has just been the tale with him all season. Xander Bogaerts is not, on top of the fact that he's just not hitting in general, he's also not driving in runs. I mean, it's genuinely impressive that he only has 14 RBIs on the season now. Thank God. He's been actually hitting a little bit lately. But in general, he's just had so many moments where I'm like, but you're a star. And more importantly, you're getting paid a lot. You're taking up a lot of this payroll. And thirdly, most importantly, he has been clutch before, right? Like, this has been a player who's been able to get hits throughout his career. But unfortunately, for the Padres, that just hasn't been the case, right? Only batting .242 with runners in scoring position this year. In high leverage situations, he has a 53 WRC plus. It's just no good. And it's really, really frustrating. They end up losing the game. Jeremiah Estrada blows it, but not really. Because with the extra runner, right, the zombie runner on second base, all they need is a bunt, right, which is what happens. Sorry, it sounds like I'm tearing up right now. They get a bunt from, who was it, Oswaldo Cabrera, and then Jason Dominguez is able to get to third. J.C. Escara, who was like barely a known name, I'm pretty sure was working like a blue-collar job, regular job before this moment, and then he hits the sacrifice fly to give the Yankees the win. Frustrating. It felt like a playoff game, though. And I want to emphasize, like, let's all just appreciate that was one heck of a ball game. You know what I mean? And we're going to keep talking about it. We're going to talk about Jackson Merrill. And we're going to complain about the Yankees broadcast in just a second, guys. But first, we have to take a second to talk about our sponsors. And what are those sponsors, ladies and gentlemen? Well, you've heard them before. So, I barely have to introduce them. I'm going to anyway, though, because we love them very much. And that is our good friends over at FanDuel, folks. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments, whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player. Anybody see the Knicks Celtics last night? Shout out Mikal Bridges. There can never be a better time to get in on the action Let me tell you, folks, FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live with player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. Who do you think is going to come up in the next moment? You think Anthony Edwards is finally going to show up tonight? Is he going to, or the Timberwolves finally going to make some threes against the hate organization known as the Golden State Warriors? Just the evil that they are capable of? We'll have to see. But let me tell you guys, whatever it is, if you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. But that's not all, guys. We also talk about something wonderful, something perhaps to chew on while you watch all these games, and that is wonderful pistachios. Because if you're looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious, that is the place to go. Wonderful pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help you keep feeling fuller longer. I also like the no shells variety. A little perfect grab and go snack for them busy days, you know what I mean? Or if you're like me, you're snacking at your desk, you like the sound of the crack. It's just satisfying. It does something for you. It smooths your brain. If that's the case, wonderful pistachios are the snack for you, as well as some other flavors too. So get snackin' and get crackin' with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. And just like that, everybody, we are back here in the waning moments of the Locked On Padres podcast. Remember, Twitter/X and Blue Sky at Javipeno, Javiipeno. Just some final thoughts. You know, you talk about the big picture of this series, because all in all, what I think happened here was we got ourselves like one of those regular seasons, and it's the ultimate cliche, but it really did feel like it was a great playoff atmosphere. And while things didn't go great, I do want to just appreciate that it was a great game. I want to appreciate that it was a great series. Despite, yes, the 12-3 onslaught that they had in game 2, it was close up to that point until Wandy and Monahan came in, as I mentioned before. And I do think that like there's a lot of good to take away from this, and to take away from this is that they just played them better. And frankly, they didn't play the Yankees really well last year. The Yankees clobbered them, I'm pretty sure, last year. That wasn't great. And it just felt like we were on their level. And if not for a couple of untimely moments, if Jackson Merrill doesn't get, if Luis Ariz, the one time he draws a walk isn't when I'm like, I don't want you to draw a walk, actually just putting the ball in play might get us the RBI, then I think they do better. And I do think that this team is going to undergo some changes over the course of the season. I think that you're going to see some more appearances from Luis Campusano. I think at some point Edgar Rosario might get called up. I think you might see a trade for a platoon bat. I think you might see potentially a new starter come into the fold. Whether that be the current situation, which is Stephen Kolek, right? Like he might be the 5th starter. We'll have to see. I do think that this team is going to look different. And I'm hopeful that some guys will get better, right? Jake Cronenworth will get back healthy. Xander Bogaerts will at least be an average hitter, which he has not been this season, let me tell you. I don't know if you guys knew that. Did you know he hasn't even been an average hitter? Isn't that amazing? Xander Bogaerts, just a 92 WRC plus on the year compared to a 95 last year and then a 119 the year before that. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say. He did make some good defensive plays, I will say, in this series, but overall, I think that that's kind of where we're at with the Padres, is that it's still a good team. It just seems like, to me, if you had to like write off the series, what I would say is look at it as this bullpen was so impenetrable that you had to look at it and say at some point, especially with a team like the Yankees, with some of the batters that they have, they were going to make some mistakes, right? Even if I don't like the pitching decisions, which I feel like isn't just a mistake. It's just like, what are you doing, Jason? But I think that overall, you can chalk it up to that. And this was still a great series. And at least, the bare minimum, we just got to see Dylan Cease be good again. And Dylan Cease has been, I was starting to get worried. I really was. I did a whole TikTok short and YouTube short on this that was like, look, I think he's going to be okay. His peripherals are good. But he hadn't really shown it, and he didn't have a good start against Pittsburgh. So can he carry this momentum right into his next start is going to be the big question. With the Padres, right? That's going to be the big question, because if they can have Dylan Cease be not even like what he was last year, but just get closer to that, then you have a really strong top 3 in your rotation with some upside in your 4th and 5th guys with Yu Darvish and then Stephen Kolek / Randy Vasquez / Kyle Hart / whoever ends up getting the opportunity, right? If they trade for a pitcher, that's a contending playoff rotation. You can absolutely do something with that for sure. And Dylan Cease being better is going to be a big part of that. And again, we're going to have to see how this goes down. He's not going to start in this next series against Colorado, obviously, because, we just played. But I do want to see that next start, which is probably going to come against the Angels, probably on Tuesday or Wednesday or something like that. And I think that he can do well against that team too. It's a nice test for him, right? It'll be a nice test to see if in 2 straight starts that he'll have a good start, and then the next one being a team that isn't really all that incredible. They're 24th in runs scored, 28th in batting average. That's the type of team that Dylan Cease should do well off of. Just be careful of Taylor Ward, I guess. Or is Taylor Ward even on the Angels still? I forgot. I think he is. But that's it, right? And then Jackson Merrill is a superstar. I mean, the guy always seems to come through, and there is a vibe with him. There really is. There is an infectious, this kid loves baseball, this kid can play, this kid is built for the moment vibe that he does have. We have not really seen a point in which Jackson Merrill has gone on a prolonged stretch where we're like, he's the reason that we keep losing. You know what I mean? The only thing that he did bad this series was a little bit of a bad read on a bloop single, but otherwise, who cares? The guy's a freak. I will say, I want to complain really quickly about the Yankees broadcast, which I understand is dumb because every away broadcast is going to feel biased in favor of a team. But I really hate it. And I just wanted to bring this up because some people ask me, well, why'd you quit the Yankees and whatnot? And it's because of stuff like this. At one point, they're talking about our girl, Emma Stone, who was at the game. And by the way, her husband was rocking a Ruben Niebla jersey. For those who don't know, Emma Stone has been like a huge Padres fan and supporter for a while now. And this is this is real. You're a ball knower. Forget just casual fan, which is obviously fine. I'm not trying to say you can't just be a casual fan. It's great. We'll take anybody, right? But it's just fun that they've been to multiple games. I think there was a report that said they were at spring training. Someone leave a comment if I'm wrong about that, but I think there was some spring training. It might have been last year maybe that Emma Stone was at the game, or maybe the husband was just at the game. I don't remember. My apologies if I'm forgetting your name, my guy. But they're just ball knowers. They were at the Mets games. They were in games in San Diego, and now he's rocking Ruben Niebla. It's great. And on the broadcast, they talked about it, that she started becoming a fan of the team because of her husband, who's from San Diego, and this is his favorite team. And then Paul O'Neill was like, well, that's stupid. And I just want to go on a quick rant for you, just as a treat on this lovely Thursday afternoon, which is, I hate, and I've been saying this for years, and you guys know I used to be a Yankees fan, and here's a good example of why I'm not anymore. There's 2 things I hate. Number 1 is that the Yankees fan base, the Yankees empire, the Yankees media apparatus is always so taken aback by the idea that maybe everything doesn't revolve around them. Big market sports teams in general, whether it be New York, LA, Boston, Chicago, whatever it is, they're always taken aback by the idea that maybe everybody doesn't love them and that maybe it's okay for the sport if someone else wins. So for example, when people complained that we got Denver versus Miami in the finals that year, and everyone's like, well, this isn't exciting, whatever. It's like, well, so what? This matters to other people that aren't just the biggest places in the country. It's really, really annoying for me, and I'm going anti-populist on this one. So Paul O'Neill saying that it's dumb to choose a team because your beloved is a fan of them. Why is that any dumber? Why is that any dumber than just being like, well, the Yankees are popular, I should like them because they have a lot of Hall of Famers? Or secondary, number 2, which is my big thing that I've always talked about, I do not understand the idea that it is more arbitrary, or it's any less arbitrary, let's say it that way, any less arbitrary for your favorite team to be predicated on where you were born versus like me saying, oh, I like the Thunderbolt, I'm going to be a Chargers fan. Or I've been looking for an out, and one of my friends is from San Diego, and I like that Preller's taking over the team and changing things, and it seems like they're on the rise, and I like Machado and all that stuff, and then becoming a Padres fan, and also because Locked On came along, and that's why I have this show. Like, why is that any less arbitrary? I've always hated that. It was just annoying. And then at one point they also imply, and dare I say some sexism, maybe like just a tiny bit, where they're like, oh yeah, I bet they gave her that hat for free or something like that. And I'm like, even if they did, who cares, by the way? And also, you're just assuming that. Who cares? They've been to a lot of games, man. This isn't the first time we've seen Emma Stone. And unlike the Yankees and, Boston and LA, and I'm not even taking shots at LA in this situation. I'm not saying that, but there isn't like clout to be gained from being a Padres fan as much. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like that's a team where, say, the Knicks, who just played last night, who I'm rooting for, by the way, because we hate Boston out here, that you see a lot of celebrities just go to MSG and go to the Garden because it's for clout. Like, it's cool to be going and supporting the Knicks because you know it's a big famous team. Same thing for the Lakers. Same thing to a smaller degree to the Celtics. They're not quite as beloved as a city and whatnot for a lot of reasons. Same thing goes for a lot of teams. For football, right? If you go to a Giants game, if you go to a Jets game, if you go to certain places, there's just a little bit more clout involved. You a real one if you're out here like, yeah, that's our brand, is we're big Padres fans. And I love it. She's got the super cool jacket. She's still my header on the Twitter account for the Locked On Padres account at LO_ Padres. Go check that out. Might have to make it my own header, frankly, because she's awesome. But and also, fun fact, literally my favorite actress. I'm not just saying that because of the Padres. You can scroll back through my tweets, has been my favorite actress for a very long time. So seeing her on our side was fantastic. So I just wanted a little bit of a rant about that because I hate that. I hate that nonsense. It's so stupid to get into fan allegiances and what's cool and what's not. And it's possible that Paul O'Neill said it in jest. Same thing for Michael Kay, but it just bugs me and it's dumb. So what can I say? But folks, we're nearing the end of today's episode. And we face the Rockies next, which I understand there's some fear. There's some fear. I get it. But we're in Colorado, which always could make for a fun series with how crazy Coors Field is. Hopefully, the Padres bounce back and don't get stupid in these next two upcoming series against the Rockies and the Angels. And if they don't do that, if they just win the series, if they just play okay, they don't get swept, then they're going to maintain their overall good look as a team. Just don't fall apart against some bad teams. And in general, they have not. And they're 12-8 against like teams above 500 this year, I'm pretty sure. They've been good. They've been good. So I'm not freaking out, even if it is the Rockies. I'm hopeful that Charlie Blackmon not being on that team has stopped the curse, at least for now. But with that all being said, everybody, that about does it for today's edition of the Locked On Padres podcast, the only pod that may be better than the Padres themselves. Remember to subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts from. Follow me on Twitter /X and Blue Sky. One more time at Javipeno, JAVIIPENO. Tomorrow's show, probably just going to do the biggest questions facing the Padres as we're, I think, 25% through the season. Am I wrong? I'm probably wrong. But you get my point, guys. We'll talk about that and more tomorrow. But until then, stay safe and, of course, stay faithful. My Friar Faithful homies, take care.